want a copy of my comments?
Yes, if you can.
Because I have made, I was not sure whether we were going to have interpretation, so I made for the interpreters, you know?
Oh, I wish I had. I'm
It's
going to
okay,
request
it's just out
Leneke.
of politeness,
Yes,
you know?
she is going to come in 5 minutes, Leneke,
Who?
from the secretariat, Ecosac.
You will have informal?
I will ask her if that's possible.
No, you don't do that casually, no. You do that a month here.
No, but not here, not in
Yes, not here.
Welcome. I'm thinking to.
So can we connect the laptop to the HDMI?
Yes, so let's connect your laptop, right? You
Yes.
can. You don't have to stay there. We can just move the cable. That is not this. Yeah.
No, but the power. There is no power outlet here.
Power. There is something about but it's the only is this.
Yeah, this is the only one. This is
Yes.
here.
Or you can
Yes.
keep there.
Yeah.
So it's not visible.
It's fully charged. I don't need to.
Yeah, or maybe you can.
I don't need to have it for charge, but I will just as a precaution.
And this is the part we have to. We can go up.
Connect to the HDMI.
Can go underneath. Maybe for now you can.
I will remove it
No,
now.
you can leave like
Yes.
this, so we can connect.
You
it
can
to
connect
the power.
Yes.
The power goes up.
Sure. So all these images that you see are generated by AI, you know. Yes.
Wow.
Everything inside we generated through the AI.
It's out of that.
Yes, yes.
Allora, dunque, volevo dirti, io credo anche se adesso sta prima.
So I would also request a copy of, if you can give me electronic copy,
I will.
because what we need to prepare the report
Yeah, absolutely.
and submit before next week.
You want to give me your email?
Yes, yeah. I will just
Just write it there.
Yeah.
Send it out.
Sure. So that's the email in case it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
not very
because
clear,
we-
you know? Yes.
I don't have enough time because.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
It's MP.
MP, Millions Petricarius. MP at Scanius. So just to give you background, Elsa, this Inspired for Tomorrow, this was an idea that Simonetta and we discussed before the Summit of the Future in September. And we were exploring ideas how we can create some mechanism, some vehicle to implement or help implement the action items
Yes.
from this. Because what happened that the UN system is working on their own, then the NGOs are working, the academic institutions are working, the business community is working. So we thought that how can we create a platform where we can, all those players, we can bring on one platform. And thanks to Simonetta and then UN DESA supported us very strongly. And the permanent mission of Italy, they very supported. And then of course Dr. Milna and Filac. And so we thought that we should have this Inspire for Tomorrow as a 501c3 foundation. So we incorporated this last month here in the US. It's based in out of Ohio in the US, and it will be a 501c3 as a charitable foundation. You know?
Okay.
And the idea is to see if we can create some kind of fund to help launch some of the action items. You know? And so in this program, if you see the at the last part, we are going to discuss some mechanism like Shark Tank. You know, the Shark Tank where they raise money for businesses. So here we thought that can we raise some funds or some mechanism for the social this implementation of this pact. Can we create some kind of mechanism? So you know, just
Which would be non-UN.
non-UN,
outside, yeah.
absolutely, you know. So, you know, something, for example, where in the Shark Tank, people pitch the ideas and then the investors invested, you know. So here, we thought that we can pitch somehow to the investment community the ideas to implement the action and generate the funds. And then the foundation could help implement those, you know.
Yeah.
So I've done this successfully for Canias, the organization that I run.
Yes.
I raised like this for several millions of dollars. I started from zero. You know, for the concepts, the first one we raised 800,000 to start the idea. Then we raised 2 million each. Then we raised 10 million.
Yes.
And so this has
It's
a good.
amazing, you know.
So we would like to see, and then of course with support from, so in New York we don't have anything, we are looking for some ideas from US. For example, we are looking for example as a Ford Foundation. Can we partner with someone like them?
Well, Oscar and
Or maybe some other ones, you know?
Oscar and his wife, Candace.
She's not there anymore.
No, she is.
She left, I think.
No, she
Così?
just works remote and
Oh, she
comes
works
here once a
Così va
week.
bene?
Oh, I thought she left.
Monica, no.
Monica left, I thought, no?
She's a very important person at Ford.
Così?
Yes, I know. Because
You will understand by speaking to Monica more concretely because you know we happen to have Monica. She will give direct.
But do you think this is a good idea? This is first we need to discuss in this forum. Should we consider this idea of engaging with some foundations like?
I mean, if you can
L'ho fatto.
afford to fund you, it's a
Yes.
big deal.
Si vedono tutti?
They are difficult to convince.
Is it?
Yeah, but I mean, this is an idea that is wonderful the way I hear it.
Va
You
bene.
know, and I must say that it took me time to prepare for this. You see, my ideas are very general and different. They are not concrete like that. Because I was trying to understand the context.
Ci possiamo
What people thought about people, meaning grassroots people, indigenous, what did they think about the summit and the outcome? I was trying to think, and then about the initiative, I was not sure exactly. I don't know because I will hear from Simone. You know,
Correct.
I don't know. All this, some of it was new, and then one of the critiques I read
Yes.
was that this summit, you know, does it divert attention, you know, from the SDGs, which are our main thing.
No, it doesn't.
You know, they were
Yes,
saying,
yes.
and I did not think so, and that's
No,
why I
no.
have not put it.
It complements it. It complements it.
And you can say it is just, an accelerator.
Accelerate, yes.
Because you use
Yes.
this word. So
Accelerate,
it's an
yes.
accelerator because we
Yes.
are not doing very well, so
Yes.
we need to accelerate, and
Yes.
2030 is around the corner.
Yes.
You know.
The word accelerate, that's
That's
the
how
most
I see it.
important. Yes.
I
Yes.
saw it studying, and I didn't get involved with the summit. I have to tell you this now. We are in seminar mode, friends mode, because I was trying to understand why are we having it? Why are we having it, Because we have the SDGs, this is our big agenda, and we have so many. Why are we having it? And I never got adequate response. Politically, why are we having it? But I can see that we need to accelerate. But we should not at all undermine or weaken the SDG effort.
So
But
let me ask
accelerate,
you,
yes.
you raised such a very important point. We had a lot of debate in this issue in Montreal last month. Why do we need the summit? What was the need for the summit? And so there was a discussion organized by Global Compact. And they said, do we really need another pact and another one? Why don't we focus on the SDGs, And the answer was, or remains, is that this pact, so-called future, is supposed to help accelerate those SDGs, the
Now, that
2030
I can take.
2030
I
agenda.
understand.
But it's not to replace it, not to.
No.
No.
You don't.
Hi, hello.
Ciao Marco. I am Elsa.
Thank you so much for coming. Nice to see you.
Ciao.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good.
See?
How are you? Long
How are you? Long
time.
time. I was like so excited to
I like this. You are.
Thank you. Like,
Wow, we
Yes,
I
love
always,
that.
I always love this for me. But it's cold inside,
Yes.
And then I have to put my coat downstairs. No, not downstairs, at the entrance. And I have to come with
Where do you?
something.
What is this called?
That's a Persian one. That's a chuba.
Oh.
Yeah. So that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
I made your colleague. How are you?
Hi,
Omar, nice meeting you.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Alessandro Baldini.
I got a seat somewhere that I don't bother you guys. That's all.
Millennium from Canada.
So maybe I can.
Please have a seat.
Here.
We can sit maybe somewhere.
Here.
Oh, this is for the VIP.
No, it's for you. Come here, please. Join us. Join us.
Please.
But how like, isn't it better that the ambassadors and all the fancy Thanks.
No problem.
So, long time no see.
Yes.
Huh? Last time was in Vienna. We
Last time.
met in Vienna last time.
Yes, and then the COVID happened,
Yeah.
and everything went downhill.
And then you moved
I went-
Anna here.
Actually, I got stuck in Shenzhen, China,
Mhm.
when the COVID happened. Then I went to Singapore.
Yeah.
I got stuck there.
Well.
Then I came to France. I got stuck a little bit there.
Yeah.
Then I went to Vienna. So, and we didn't have any chance to go back because Anna was the only one there
Yeah.
and taking all the Costa Ricans back to Costa Rica. So I was a good husband.
Well, good.
Now, but well done. Like
Yeah, well, we don't expect too many people because we also noticed this morning that the room was not full. It was so.
But if you would have let me know, I would have brought all my team.
and then we left. At 11 was over, even before, and then the room
We stayed like this.
was
When it is also broadcasted, so
Yeah.
many people follow it
Yeah.
at home or at work.
So I was told that the UN system, all the UN people are following from their offices.
Yeah,
They are not-
many.
Well, but when I was in Vienna and the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space was going on, I usually was in my office listening. And then when I was hearing something that was needed my attention,
Just when it's,
exactly.
That's,
Yeah, because in the meantime you have to run the show.
yeah.
So,
I thought it's innovation for tomorrow. I said like that's amazing. Inspired for tomorrow. That's even
Yes,
better.
more than innovation, yeah. You know, we try to do our best. So we wait because it's at 1:15.
So we have
We still
10
have,
minutes.
Sure. So it will be, in any case, there is a YouTube.
Yes, we have a YouTube live streaming.
Wow,
Uh,
bravi.
no, the idea was he was in a way suggesting that so we start to populate our website also with these videos and.
Queste cose di Vincenzo, no? Io l'ho scritto.
Sì, è lui, è lui, sì.
Quello del suo contatto.
Vediamo se è lui, perché aspetta che ce n'ha due
Appunto, vorrei che magari io poi...
ce n'ha uno di lavoro e uno di. So. Allora, guarda, forse anche questo qua, vedi, io l'ultimo messaggio gliel'ho mandato nel 21, quindi forse quella è della.
È del lavoro. Mandaglielo pure tu, magari si sa
Sì,
mai.
io gliel'ho già detto. Però lo vuoi questo? Te lo mando questo?
Mandalo pure. Io l'ho mandato sull'altro, ti ho mandato uno a te la stessa schermata.
What is the name?
This
Send message to. Share contact. Here we are. Share. La coppiata di numeri.
Quindi com'è l'ordine adesso? Come facciamo? Tu
L'ordine
fai
è lo
delle-
sì, io faccio giusto un'introduzione. Sì, poi ci sei. E l'ambasciatore paraguayano.
Twice.
Cioè,
Oh, really? Come to, because we have a training
Poi
center at the
abbiamo
UN.
due defezioni, una
Poi
in
già
Densa
sei
It is in Torino, in the city.
e perché siamo preparati e l'altro è il vicepresidente di FILAC e
With,
Malato.
when I went on mission.
Quindi a questo punto il programma rimane lo stesso, l'unica cosa che magari teniamo un
Oh,
pochino
thank
più
you
di
so
tempo
much.
per la dibattito finale, che è quello moderato da me. L'idea è quella di,
Welcoming
come posso
space.
dire, raccogliere un po' di suggerimenti su quello che potrebbe essere il discorso. Io mi sto convincendo sempre di più.
Oscar, you are always amazing.
Cioè, facciamo una cosa che sia sempre di più in linea con piuttosto che partire con dei progetti definiti, cioè come fa Slegio, assolutamente, no? Le fondazioni, dicono vabbè facciamo un progetto tanti soldi si fare. Invece se noi facessimo un discorso di questo mi è venuto anche in mente dopo che ho parlato con la Costa Rica ieri, perché loro dicono, noi soprattutto le delegazioni piccole non riusciamo a farci
Oh, thank you.
un fondo, no, perché noi sì magari i documenti che ci hanno mostrato le cose principali non c'è ma non capiamo lo stesso, quindi ci fosse per esempio qualcuno che ci aiuta a capire, che ci aiuta a mettere insieme i progetti, poi troviamo di più i fondi fatti. Se tu invece vieni da me con un progetto che dice voglio fare a 10, dici tu vabbè, vai dai grossi che cambiano. E quindi se
Poi
noi
poi sempre meglio da
Writing, teaching, create, I believe a lot in training. So all these references to training in
esatto, quindi vediamo un attimo, per cui se si potrebbe fare un discorso che proprio anche di coinvolgimento sempre maggiore sugli stati membri, pure la responsabilità potrebbe essere quella di fare una sorta di
Adesso
many people.
doveva venire Sami, che si chiama lui, come si simplicity. Hi, Simonetta Di Filippo.
It is
Hi.
open-minded.
It's not open-minded
Good.
and it's not just, you know,
Well,
Yes.
Ambassador, we need to find a place for you.
but
Or-
really,
Okay, but still,
At the center.
well, let's do this. We are still waiting because it's.
It's okay.
Yeah.
5 minutes, we wait, 5-7 minutes.
We are all sitting here because we have a YouTube.
Live streaming.
Live streaming. So it's gonna be
So that if people want to follow us, they can, right?
absolutely.
So is Anna passing by or not?
Sure, yeah, but she's the charger now, so
Yeah.
that's why she said she will be late a little bit. But we still have like 6 more minutes.
Yeah.
yes, yes, there's time.
Do you have Instagram and Facebook? Or?
There is a YouTube live streaming.
Okay,
and
but
X.
it's not on
Not on Facebook or Instagram. If you want, I can share you the link.
there for the YouTube.
Yep. Or you want to share to anybody, so I don't know.
I mean, sure, if
Just I need,
how you gonna
yeah, leave your number. It's gonna be easier.
let me give you my card, even better.
Oh, thank you.
Rischi di avere più
Gente
che non...
non-
Perché tu guardi anche adesso, poi vedi questi...
And your number, your cell number.
Both of them are.
They work in YouTube, in WhatsApp.
Sì.
Yeah, both of them.
Guardi il pezzo, un altro no.
Sì.
Cioè, è chiaro che poi tu vai pure a mangiare, no?
Sì, esatto. Insomma, ripeto, io il marito è costariano, praticamente l'ho conosciuto proprio lei stava nella delegazione Costa Rica, io stavo addirittura via, quindi conosco abbastanza. Poi sai, le cose funzionano così, anche nel mondo diplomatico, tu più conosci la gente.
È un lavoro molto di relazione. Diciamo a Costa Rica quando ho pensato come sono in casa.
Sì, sono detto che sono concentrati sono in 6 e dice per cui noi
Questa
per cui lei perché mi conosce lei fa lo stesso lui invece ha compilato un libro che mi ha dato ieri in Spring sulla copertura eccetera lavora parecchio anche sulla relazione di scienza.
I just sent you.
Yes. You have a very distinguished name. Can I don't want to ruin the pronunciation. Will you pronounce the?
My name?
Yeah, it's
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe. Okay,
Correct.
Yeah,
perfect.
perfect.
Wow.
Your pronunciation is perfect.
Yeah, but it was a risky thing. So
Well, but you made it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm gonna put it on.
You can
So
share
you
it to
manage
everybody.
the
Yeah.
agenda.
Or you can put
So
a
you
Twitter or
give
you
the
can put it
floor
anywhere.
to-
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Perfect. Siamo ancora a
Presentare.
2 minuti.
Mi vado a presentare la signora.
Wasn't sure whether it would be Jay.
No,
I'll give you another.
Twitter, no.
No.
We have just a
So I'm just
YouTube
gonna,
channel.
I'm just gonna put the.
No, not yet.
Not
Huh?
yet,
Not
because,
yet.
We have not created the social presence, I guess.
No, we have to work on that.
Yes.
Innovation.
Yes,
Innovation.
absolutely, yes.
Hello? No.
You think it's colleague, yes? From Deneke? You are in Deneke? Oh!
We have a face. Simonetta, nice to meet you. But it's changing a lot, so it's great.
Working fine. We just had some issue with the pin was not working. So let's welcome to the start.
Yes. And you're one of the list of speakers.
Mirna was supposed to speak to Mirna.
Yeah.
But she has some family issue.
Oh, and she's not coming anymore.
No, her son has medical issue. No, but in the schedule. So in her place, Mirna will make the replacement.
Oh, okay.
So we do have the same.
Okay.
candidate.
So you say yes and you. Oh, yes, you did the one.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you send that to Nayara?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, no, but she says yes. That you will see the name system in the
Okay.
Thank you for, you have been amazing. You are so very proud and very, very,
Almost. I was about to start.
Okay. Milene.
actually, you know, we did,
Due te ne dovremmo mandare.
We are 2 minutes late.
Partnership.
Erano due numeri. Uno era quello che
Perché ce l'hai
avevi.
tu già visti.
Ora sei
Sì, ce li
Quindi guarda era quello.
Andiamo un po' qua.
So we're going to start in few minutes.
So we already
Iniziamo.
in time. In the time. So we. Okay.
So I'd like to welcome for this United Nations ECOSOC Forum 2025 side event, Inspire for Tomorrow, Innovative Partnership, Accelerating Inclusive and Sustainable Development. The side event will be covering the issues which are matching with the theme and the goals of this ECOSOC Partnership Forum. The program, we will have a welcome remarks first from our colleagues, then keynote remarks from the ambassadors, the member state supporting this event. We will then set the stage and the objective and the expected outcome from this event. Followed by, we will have a panelist, expert panelist covering the partnership unique approach. And then the roundtable to discuss potential roadmap of implementing this partnership. And then we will conclude this session by outlining what will be the next step moving forward from this one. So I will be moderating this session. My name is Milind Pimprekar. I am the chairman of CANIS and the co-founder of this Inspire for Tomorrow Foundation. I would like to first request and invite Dr. Simuleta Dopipo, the former director of UNOSA and the president of this Inspire for Tomorrow Foundation. So Professor Simuleta Dopipo, she is also very active in terms of both academic as well as from the United Nations systems. She was a former director of UNOSA. She is now the director of the Space Economy Lab in Italy as well as in United Arab Emirates. And a number of achievements and so on. So I would not speak on this, but I would request Professor Simonetta Dopipo to present the welcome remarks for this session.
So Milind, thank you very much, and thank you everyone to be here. It's really a pleasure. It's on a personal side, I have to say that since I left the UN as director of the Office for Outer Space Affairs, now is a new cycle of my presence in the building. And it's interesting because it's on the other side, and it gives a different perspective. But okay, apart that, it is on a personal side. As Milind was mentioning, we have been benefiting in a way of the UN Summit of the Future because the summit gave us the possibility, in a way, of let's say pushing the approval of the Inspire for Tomorrow Foundation, which, as Milind mentioned, in a way was an idea that we started to deal with. I mean, we started to discuss this idea while we were following the development of the Pact for the Future. And we noticed that in the Pact for the Future there are few elements which are innovative in a way. On one side, it's a list of actions, which is interesting to see in a so important UN document. And the other main point that I noticed is that, and then we started to debate about it, is the fact that in several different locations inside the document, you may find a reference to the civil society and the importance for, general public, academia, the private sector, and the non-governmental organizations in supporting member states in trying to achieve, to accelerate the achievements that they committed to towards the 17 SDGs by 2030. So I loved, I have to say, the Pact, but that's my personal feeling, because it's a document that is a bit, I won't say different, but innovative for in certain aspects. So in a way, we know that the Pact is accelerating the 2030 agenda, at least that's the way in which we see it. And so this foundation, as Inspire for Tomorrow Foundation, has the main goal, the vision of using frontier technologies, meaning AI, quantum, space, digital cooperation, and in general STEM, to support the Pact. So to accelerate the Pact, which in itself accelerated Agenda 2030. So we believe that partnership is the key word. And so the idea of also this event is to bring together the various stakeholders and try to really listen to you and see which ideas you can put on the table and see how we can shape our business model in line with the requirements of the stakeholders. So I believe that for the time being I can stop here, because I'm sure that our two guests here will have a lot to tell us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sivanita. This idea of creating this partnership, unique partnership, which is Inspire for Tomorrow, especially in terms of not just contributing for the implementation of the pact, but also bringing the diverse stakeholders and accelerating the SDGs. This is the major goal of this partnership. So it's just a vehicle and foundation, and the member states are the key for this to help accomplish this goal. We have been very privileged with the support from the Permanent Mission of Italy when we had at the United Nations Summit of the Future. And continuing that partnership, I'm inviting His Excellency Marco Romiti, Minister Councillor for the ECOSOC Ambassador and the Permanent Mission of Italy, to present his remark on the journey that we started at the Summit of the Future. So Ambassador Romiti, the Prime Minister Councillor, has been very, very deeply involved in the process. He has not only with the Italian mission, but also in the Pact for the Future. He presents the Italian government in the mission, not only as for the summit, but also for the moving forward. His role is also very key as ECOSOC ambassador. So being that perspective, and in addition to his previous assignment as ambassador in a number of countries and so on, Excellency Romiti brings a very unique perspective on how we should advance this partnership. So I'd like to invite and request, Minister, your thoughts on how we should contribute to this.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. Thank you to you all for being here, and also on behalf of IPR Ambassador Massari. It's a privilege and honor to be here at this important side event, which is, I think, very well aligned with the ECOSOC Partnership Forum. Partnership is a key word. In fact, I mean, the first series of ECOSOC events start with the Partnership Forum, and this is something important. Inspire for Tomorrow is an important initiative, in my opinion, because it's an innovative partnership conceived, as Professor Tipico said, also as an outcome of the Pact of the Future, as an outcome of the UN Summit of the Future. The partnership would like to mobilize commitments and actions that advance the implementation of the Pact and consequently the 2030 Agenda by promoting inclusive and sustainable development, gender equality, human rights, while addressing emergency and global challenges and crises we all know that are exacerbating. We need these innovative solutions also to implement the Pact in itself. The Pact is a series of actions, so it's important now to give a follow-up. Otherwise, the Pact in itself is not implemented and remains without implementation, which is very sad, even because the Pact of the Future is a system with its annexes, the Global Digital Compact and the Declaration of Future Generation and for Future Generation. So it's very well conceived to give a boost to multilateralism in all these important issues which need global action to be really successful. And this is all the more so since we are experiencing now a period of multiple crises, rising inequalities and lack of trust, and also a very serious impact on the most vulnerable people. And we think we have to really work together not to leave anyone behind. So, even to fight against violence and any kind of conflicts. The Pact, so it's an opportunity to strengthen the multilateral system to deliver on the 2030 agenda also at local levels. And forging multilateral solution is a necessity, and in the Pact itself we have a critical role given to partnership, because there are certain specific actions, especially Action 55, even though throughout the Pact we have a continuous reference to partnership, because it's clear that without the involvement of all stakeholders, so civil society, private sector, it will be very difficult to go through and be successful in advancing this complicated agenda. So I would just to not to be very long, but try to touch the most significant part of this speech. Just to go, just to pinpoint certain aspects. In fact, Action 55 starts saying we will strengthen our partnerships to deliver on existing commitments and address new and emerging challenges. And from these, there is all the specification of the action. In the pact, there is also the awareness that our efforts must involve governance. Inter alia, indigenous people, civil society, business and private sector, faith-based organization. I would like also to say that considering Professor Di Pippo, long-standing experience and expertise, also as previous director of the UNOSA, we should also mention that there is also a part of the pact dealing with space cooperation. So the system is very well, I would say, complete. This side event is so important to draw our attention to the concrete role of civil society, and in particular, in this case, Inspire for Tomorrow, to see how they can help to reach our goals. Having access to the benefits of scientific and technological progress and digital breakthroughs is necessary for developing countries to bridge the gap in science, technology, and digital innovation, but also for all citizens to keep pace with today's realities. Towards a more peaceful, prosperous, equitable and sustainable future for all. In the UN system, 2025 is significantly devoted to economic and social issues. Therefore, there is a great opportunity for the Economic and Social Council and all this system to show its relevance. ECOSOC activities, in our opinion, turn out essential not only to accelerate implementation of the 2030 agenda, but also to follow up to all the actions of at least most of the actions of the future. Also in considering the importance of the major forthcoming conferences and events, such as the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, the 2025 UN Ocean Conference, the 2nd World Summit for Social Development, the 30th anniversary of the 4th World Conference on Women and the adoption of the Beijing Declaration and its platform of action. We also look forward to the convening of the UN Food System Summit stock-taking moment, the UNFS+4, to review the progress in the acceleration of food systems transformations and its contribution to the achievement of the 2030 agenda. This will be an important step also to implement the Pact of the Future, and in particular its Section 3. As we all know, the issues of food security and nutrition or malnutrition require now more than ever our collective action. And as we were in a previous speech, we are really pointing out how food security and food systems are so important for a series of SDGs involving gender, health, also climate change. So it's a very topical issue. The work of the ECOSOC system is crucial in the advancement of the SDG. It is important also to focus on these SDGs that are now under review at the HLPF specifically. So we have SDG 3, health, 5, gender equality, 8, decent work and economic growth, SDG 14, life below water, also in view of the June Ocean Conference, and of course the SDG 17, which is always in review, because it's, as we said, partnerships are really essential also for all the UN activities to be successful. I would also like to thank the European Union for all the work done during the Summit of the Future, and for its activities also after that to make sure that the momentum is kept and that the Summit of the Future is implemented as much as possible. I would stop here and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ambassador Lomiti. Actually, I should, to begin with, this idea of this ECOSOC partnership event was actually your encouragement at the Summit of the Future when you presented. You were the one who suggested to us that we should follow at the ECOSOC. And the ideas that you mentioned, for example, the UN Ocean, the AFI, FDI, the Financing Forum, and so on. So we will be ensuring to follow up on all of those, and our goal is to see if at the high-level political forum, if we can, these ideas that we generate today to evolve this partnership. So just for your information, Minister, the Food System Summit that was held in 2021, we, FILAG and all of us, Dr. Miriam Cunningham, Simonetta, other people, played a very key role in creating this partnership, what you see here. So the Inspire for Tomorrow, this partnership, the foundation goes back to the Food System Summit actually when we started the work. And so it's very, very useful. We will take those comments into consideration and when we discuss for the next one. So thank you again, Minister. Now I'd like to invite Ambassador Riccardi, Marcelo Riccardi. Actually, this point that we bring, because when we started the discussion of the innovation or the Inspire for Partnership at the summit, we were really missing some of those members at that summit. And so we are very privileged and grateful to have your participation, Ambassador, to bring the perspective from Paraguay into this partnership. We would like to hear your ideas, how we should, this partnership, what are the elements should be incorporated and this partnership should be strengthened. So I would like to invite you and your thoughts, please, and your introduction, I will just have it. So Ambassador, please.
Thank you very much. Please allow me to clarify, I'm not the ambassador, I'm Minister Miguel Candia, but I bring you the regards of Ambassador Marcelo Scapini, who was very much interested in being here today. He just couldn't find the moment within the multiple activities ambassadors have. But having said that, we are very much happy to be a part of this side event. It is an important occasion, and we, alongside you and DESA, the other member states who are co-sponsoring this event as well, and all the other members of this partnership, which is the key word we are taking on today, we see this opportunity as to foster the views of everybody, all the multi-stakeholders that have interest in advancing the Pact of the Future. And allow ourselves to, by the use of technology and crowning with the achievement of the UN main issue that is leaving no one behind. Last year we concluded a process that took a deep look at the UN work itself, but not only that, but it took a deep look towards ourselves, the member states. We saw that the SDGs needed to be boosted. We understood that, and then we got together and made a Pact of the Future as a tool to help us, both the member states and the UN system as a whole. But not only that, the UN system at the center of the multilateralism efforts towards the fulfillment of the commitments to our populations, particularly the most vulnerable parts of the population of the world. So, although the Pact of the Future does not rewrite the agenda, the 2030 agenda, we do believe, Paraguay does believe, that it refreshes the view we had on multilateralism and the way forward. So the Pact of the Future in both the annexes, GDC and the Declaration for Future Generations, they give us a view on what we have to do on these 7 years that we have until the end of the 2030 agenda, to go forward and implement them as far as we can and as best as we can, and understanding that without collaboration, without partnerships, there will be no success. And we do believe that the SDGs, the commitment we made in 2015, it's a good one. This is why the Republic of Paraguay believes in multilateralism. We support international cooperation, and particularly we understand that sustainable development is the way to further a better life for humanity itself as a whole. So, for those reasons, we remain committed to the pact. We remain particularly in this scenario, committed to the GDC, which is we believe is the most practical element within a very holistic pact that includes, as was mentioned, all scenarios where the UN have a mandate. We as member states understand this, and we are going to keep working on building the synergies. And within those synergies, this particular platform we see this as a very hopeful one. And we hope we need to bring action. And that gives us the possibility to understand that the I-14 partnership in a very short time made a big contribution. So we understand that in the future, the process to enforce these actions and these partnerships is about bringing everybody in. And I think that this platform is going to be very good for us, and you can count on Paraguay to join the other member states and other regional groups as well to bring these partnerships into life and give us a good result towards the achievement of the issues included in the pact. So I will leave it at that. Thank you very much, Imaneta, for inviting us, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Minister.
Thank
It
you.
was
Thank
very, very important. The most important point I take from this encouraging remarks is the support for advancing the partnership. You know, the goal of this ECOSOC forum is to accelerate the implementation. As Ambassador Bob Ray this morning mentioned, as the president of ECOSOC, he said that we're looking for new ideas, you know, and the new ideas, especially while keeping the inclusiveness. Because what happened that when the world is moving towards the new ideas with the new technologies and so on, but the key issue is the inclusiveness of those traditional knowledges, the indigenous people, you know, and so on. So how do we ensure the balanced way, you know? And this is where I think when we started the support from Italy, and we wanted to make sure that we have the support from at least the country input from the member states. And so looking forward, we are really, this partnership will succeed only if we get because what we are expecting is not any kind of financial thing, but in terms of providing the input so that the partnership is going in the right direction. Actually, so moving forward, we were supposed to have a keynote from our colleague Dr. Mirna Cunningham on the indigenous issues. Unfortunately, she has some personal medical issues herself, so she will not be able to contribute today. But we will have the remarks afterward from this one. So what I would like to do is that I would like to provide you now some setting the reason of why we are in terms of given the guidance from ambassador from the member states. With this guidance, what this innovative partnership that we are proposing is part of this ECOSOC Partnership Forum. So how we can evolve, how can we develop, and how we can advance this. So I will provide you with a brief objective of this event, the structure of this event, what the expected outcome, and then the next step that Minister mentioned that we would like to follow. So the objective, there are 4 objectives of this side event. The first one is we want to showcase this unique transformative approach because there are a number of partnerships that exist. So what is the difference in this one? The Inspire for Tomorrow that we would like to discuss. We would like to highlight some of the innovative solutions that we are proposing through these emerging technologies and indigenous knowledge and so on. The third one, we want to mobilize the support from the participation of stakeholders, not just member state, but also from the private sector, businesses, investment. We are mostly looking for investment support because, as you know, Ambassador Bob Ray mentioned this morning, the expert panel, there was a strong recommendation to come up with innovative financing solution. That's something which we will be discussing at this side event. And then finally, we will have some kind of action items, a roadmap to take this forward. So the objective is to contribute to this partnership forum and also align with the theme of this partnership forum. So the theme is designed to mobilize and to generate and provide the contribution to the 5 goals that the High Level Political Forum 3, 5, 8, 14 and 17 will be launching. So the structure of the event will be structured. We have first the keynote addresses that provided the background, that provided the foundation that you see. Based on the foundation, we will have in next section an expert panel. We'll be discussing, addressing some of the innovative, unique approaches, especially indigenous knowledge. We'll be looking at the businesses perspective, how the financing could be done, how some of those space, AI, some of the technologies can play in this role. So we will have an expert panel on this. Then the follow-up section, we will have a roundtable with the participants. We would like to generate some ideas, some specific action items. So we call it as actionable recommendations. And these recommendations that we would like to present it tomorrow and day after at the ECOSOC follow-up forum our Simonetta Pipo and Dr. Filag will be presenting this. So some of the tangible recommendations we would like to develop, that we will be presenting this. And finally, as Minister mentioned, we would like to have some of the collaborative planning for the next steps up to the High Level Political Forum, the UN Ocean, the financing, where we are all involved, deeply involved. So the first part will be the distinguished panel, highlighting the partnership approach, the key principles for this inclusivity in terms of especially looking at the approaches and the distinguished speaker, I would come back to her background and knowledge she brings into this issue. Finally, I would just invite in terms of the specific goals of the action items. We will not go to the action item, for example, 15 or 33 or 55, but at this forum, at the side event, we would like to cover at the broader level. However, I will invite the speaker to touch on specific action item as well on the STI and as the partnership. So we will focusing both at the broad level as well as the action item. And then finally, we will have, as I said, the round table, where we will have the government, the private sector, civil society, where we will develop the collective action, partnership, and concrete steps. So this is the kind of structure we are hoping for this event. At the end of this round table, we will have some kind of, from participants, some discussions that could identify some pilot project and how it can be taken to the global scale and so on. So these are some of the ideas that Ms. Pipo will be moderating in the panel. And the outcome, as I said before, we will have this commitment for the partnership, how it will especially bridge the gap with the technology, diplomacy, and innovation, and acting. And the last point I was going to comment more, which will have some of the new ideas. So we are going to focus on this, some of the ideas like Shark Tank I mentioned to you. We are exploring some financing mechanism, how we can create some kind of mechanism or some financing vehicles, bringing these different actors. So we will have some discussion on this, creating this new idea. And then finally, as the minister was saying, we will have this tomorrow in the day after tomorrow, the ECOSOC coordination segment, the planning and the the evolution. So these are the steps that we are following. With this one, I would like to once again take the opportunity first to acknowledge the support from all the permanent member states who are supporting this event: Permanent Mission of Italy, Permanent Mission of Paraguay, Permanent Mission of Chile, Permanent Mission of Zambia, UN DESA. Without them, this event will not happen. FILAC, the intergovernmental organization representing indigenous people. Pavanka Fund, which is championing the causes of communities' involvement around the world. CANES, the organization that I lead, is a global partnership bringing emerging technology solutions. And the SDA Bocconi, Professor D.P. Pope. So I would like to thank all of them. And now, next stage, which is the main approach for the partnership. So we have Dr. Mirna Kaninga was supposed to moderate this panel. Unfortunately, because of medical situations, she's not here. So I will continue this task and invite our first speaker into this, Professor Elsa. So no background, no introduction needed. I will put this on the screen. But anyone in the UN system knows for the past 31 years, she has been the voice and presence in the UN for a number of capacities. And after leaving the 31 years of UN distinguished career, she is now continuing at Columbia University. A remarkable book that just came out today, or as we speak. So I would not, hesitate to comment her distinguished thing and just invite Professor Elsa to give her thoughts. How should we make sure that this partnership remains inclusive and that the partnership not just remain, but also implementation follows those ones. So Professor Elsa, please.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for your very kind introduction. And excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I have already learned a lot from hearing that much up until now from our panel and the introductions. But I would like to first start by saying that I would like to recognize the indigenous peoples of this land on whose traditional territories we're having our meeting today. And these are the Lenape Native American people. I would like also to thank FILAC and the other organizers for convening us today, because it is exactly this spirit of being all together, and thinking together of how to implement, to push for these, for the implementation of these very important agendas. I will focus on indigenous people's issues in this 5-minute presentation. The concept of development and indigenous peoples has been discussed a lot within and outside interstate institutions, in academia, in civil society, and of course it has been discussed, critiqued, and reformulated by indigenous peoples themselves, who have actually created their own ideas about modes of development, about vivir bien, as we say in Spanish. The historic UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples of 2007 gives the most comprehensive normative framework for this analysis. The 3 indigenous-related UN mechanisms that we have, the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, the Special Rapporteur on Indigenous Peoples' Rights, and the Expert Mechanism on Indigenous Peoples' Rights, provide very rich background for the topic of development as well. So it is clear, in other words, that we are very far from working in a vacuum when we deal with the results of the summit of the future. Let me mention the follow-up mechanisms that we have of the World Conference on Indigenous Peoples of 2014. And of course, the two big recent international landmarks in development, the MDGs and the SDGs. While the MDGs make no mention of indigenous peoples, the strong participation of indigenous peoples in the SDGs preparation resulted in several specific mentions. This is good news. Analysis done over the years have indicated gaps in implementation, mainly, 1, due to lack of participation and inclusion of indigenous peoples, lack of adequate awareness and knowledge of their issues by public and private actors. The above lessons must now be taken into account. In addition, the international norms on indigenous peoples' rights, as contained in the UN Declaration, must be respected as we push for further implementation of the SDGs that are supported, of course, by the Summit for the Future. All actors must respect the three pillars of the Declaration, namely the right to self-determination, the right to lands, territories, and resources, and cultural rights. This is what I mean by saying that we are clearly not working in a vacuum when we build collaborative ways to move forward after the summit. The Indigenous Peoples Major Group engaged actively in the lead up to the Summit of the Future, and you know it because you were involved in this preparation. Despite some criticism that I have learned about process of participation in the summit, some references on indigenous peoples issues are included in the outcome document. And while I'm going through them in a few words, I can also identify 9 key points of action and partnership towards implementation. Starting with the chapter on science, technology, innovation, digital cooperation. Action 32 says that we will protect, build on, and complement indigenous traditional and local knowledge. And here comes action point 1. We recognize the need for science, technology, and innovation to be adapted. And action point 2, to be made relevant to local needs and circumstances, including for local communities, traditional Afro-descendant populations, and indigenous people. Action point 3, in line with the principle of free, prior, and informed consent. This is so relevant, fundamental for indigenous peoples. Action point 4, we decide, it says, I'm reading, foster synergies between science and technology and traditional, local, Afro-descendant, and indigenous knowledge, systems, practices, capacities. Now, moving in the chapter on transforming global governance, action 55, it says that we will strengthen our partnerships to deliver on existing commitments and address new and emerging challenges, right? We heard it. And here we come to action point 5. I'm numbering them so that we can follow. It says, our efforts must involve governments as well as parliaments, the UN system, and local authorities, indigenous people, civil society, business, private sector, faith-based organizations, all people to ensure an effective response to our common challenges. I so much agree with your comments that this is an amazing language to see in the UN, such strong language about participation of many actors. It's not just the state, you know. And in Annex 1 on Global Digital Compact, we read action point 6, I number them, target and tailor capacity building for women and girls, children and youth, as well as older persons, persons with disability, migrants, refugees, internally displaced persons, indigenous peoples, and those in vulnerable situations. And action point 7, ensure their meaningful engagement in the design and implementation of programs. Action point 8, in terms of participation, develop and undertake national digital inclusion surveys with data disaggregated by income, sex, age, race, ethnicity, migration, disability, and geographical location and other characteristics to identify learning gaps and inform priorities in specific contexts. All this is linked also to SDG 5 and 10. And I stress this data disaggregation because we were saying, because I spent most of my life working in the Human Rights Office of the UN, it is a human rights matter to disaggregate data, otherwise we don't know the realities of people. So it is wonderful to see in this very recent document, you know, that data disaggregation is again here, has a good position there. And in Annex 2, in the Declaration on Future Generations, we have a text that is quite close to the spirit of the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. It's my last action point here, 9. It says, recognize, respect, promote, and protect the rights of indigenous peoples, their territories, lands, and ecosystems, while safeguarding their traditions, spiritual beliefs, and ancestral knowledge, strengthen their distinct political, legal, economic, social, and cultural institutions, while retaining their right to participate fully, if they so choose, in the political, economic, social, and cultural life of the state, and ensure their right to participation in decision-making in matters that would affect their rights as determined by law in accordance with international human rights obligations. This is like, for somebody who has worked for so many years on this, you know, it really is the spirit of the Declaration. Distinguished participants, in conclusion, states and others need to build very concerted actions together with indigenous peoples. We need to transform the global economic system and to practice human rights and sustainability, social justice, and respect for cultural diversity. And perhaps this vision can attain a development that benefits the people and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the points that you mentioned actually, they're very unique. These are the most important, but the things which is missing, for example, the UN Food System Summit in 2021, there was a very strong emphasis on some of the points for indigenous people, how to protect that knowledge. But we're still lacking the mechanism and the tools to, as you said, for example, how to ensure that the consent of the indigenous people knowledge. These are been emphasized in number of documents and in this one, but what we are really missing are the tool and the resources and the action to do this. And when we started this process at the UN Food System Summit, how to get the consent, so we thought that we should look at the space technology or some of the technologies as a tool to make this happen. For example, the AI, this is the big debate actually in terms of using artificial intelligence. Are we going to have this indigenous or traditional knowledges? How to ensure the protection of those ones, you know? Not only the protection, but how to ensure the implementation to ensure that those are actually are what this calls for, you know? So we really need the both of this. We need the technologies and the tools. And so the action item, this is the whole objective of this forum, ECOSOC forum. So we feel that if today in this meeting, in this side event, if we can discuss at the end afterward, not those action items only this one that you mentioned, but also in terms of the overall implementation and how some of this, especially space technology or the business communities or the financing communities could contribute or could play a role. So to do this, we have a very unique expert panelist who would provide some kind of perspective based on his all the years of work in the space industry as an entrepreneur, as well as someone who has been working also into the educational sector and this socio-economic sector. So brings a very, very unique perspective, Giuseppe, on the not only as a director of the foundation, but also as a CEO of the space industries, which has the operations around the world. So I would like to invite you, your point in terms of how you or this space industries and the business communities could contribute in creating this partnership, and especially the issues that Professor Elsa mentioned, how space technology and the business can play a role. You know? So please,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Melinda. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to be here with you today, and I really appreciate all the comments and the aspects that we're pointing here today. I obviously would like to talk and speak about the technology and how we can leverage the back of the future. So first of all, we can say technology is going to be a boosting of the back of the future. We have to find a way to do that. My present activity as obviously director, and thank you, I'm honored to be part of the board of Inspire for Tomorrow, but also I'm the CEO of Space Industries, which is a company that produces satellites, and this is helpful. So I would like to give a perspective of the space economy, how this could be in this moment relevant for the Pact for the Future. So first of all, why space? Why we are talking about space? Everybody knows that in this moment space is growing up rapidly, which is something that we have to take in consideration. Secondly, space industry's vision. So our vision, how we can work in parallel with the Inspire for Tomorrow. Then what are the global challenges that space can address or can make a solution on that. Some example of space technology already in action that support in this moment climate changes, or in any case monitoring of some environmental issues and so forth. Our commitment together Inspire for Tomorrow, and then finally say something about the location of Inspire for Tomorrow in Italy. So we decided to have a location that they can support the work of foundation. First of all, why space? Space, you know, has been growing dramatically in the recent year. So I think that all of us will know that the effect in our own life of space already was that from the beginning. Everybody used iPhones or phones, and then we have GPS, and all this technology has to be helpful for everybody. So this is first division of technology division. Not everybody in the world have this access, which is something we have to address and solve. And technology could do that. The second is the protection of the ecosystem, the planet, and the space have an important role on that. So space is a very important element, key element in this leveraging of Pact for the Future. Pact for the Future. Please. The next slide. Okay, space industries is a global multinational company that will have and has already a location in different parts of the world. So, and that will help also the foundation to address the problem right there where the problem is. So in other sense, sometimes it's important to not think distant from the indigenous people. For instance, we should be there, understanding their culture, learn from them before to act. So action comes after learning and not before. And then being there could help in this sense. Obviously, we said the global challenges are climate change, social inequality, so how to improve the inclusion by using technology in the right way, in the ethical way. And then the digital division has to be addressed by using properly the technology. Already, just to give you a couple of examples, already in the space we have some examples like Copernicus from European Space Agencies that is monitoring the atmosphere, the oceans and the forest, deforestation, so we can look what is happening in our planet. Landsat, which is another important series of satellites that are supporting the observe of the changes, the climate changes. Or, for instance, the ISAT, which is another important to monitor the polar sea level and so the ice there and how this changes. Another element I was forgetting that another reason because space is important, because space is the only element that unifies everybody. When we talk about space, we see humanity as one and not different populations. So space, just the thinking about the space is thinking human as one thing and not separations. So only the thinking about the space. For instance, if we think we will go on Mars. In this moment we talk about the human being on Mars, not the US, Italian, Indian, whatever. It's something that put us from another perspective, which we are a very small element in the universe. We shouldn't have time to fight one to another one, but we should think about the rest. Our commitment is to work on the collaboration, work on the innovation, how to foster and inclusion, obviously it's very important, with responsibility. Let me say a couple of things, a couple of minutes about our location in Italy. So Space Industries decided to offer to Inspire for Tomorrow Foundation, our location in Italy, which is called Palazzo Asinari di San Marzano, which is a wonderful palace of 1600 built, showing that the space, so the technology has a beauty inside. So the beautiful things are not only in the past, but also in the present. So showing this bridge between the past and the present and the future in the space field. And also this palace will be also the place where we can held any kind of events that support the Pact for the Future. And lastly, obviously, as I said before, we can support Inspire for Tomorrow in different countries. We are expecting to be present in multi-countries, about 20 countries in the future. And then we can have, in each place where we are, we can have in parallel allocation for Inspire for Tomorrow to support there where we need.
Very encouraging, yes, because this is something which is when we discuss, especially creating partnerships and so on. This partnership without resources and tools doesn't happen, this production. And especially when we are discussing of the implementation of the PACT and the SDGs, already everyone complains that we started in 2015 and we are 5 years to go and we are not even halfway close to accomplishing any of those SDGs goals and so on. So without the partnership, without the tools and resources, this cannot be happening. And especially, and this cannot happen in silos. For example, Elon Musk, today I mean, grabbing the attention of the world with Starlink and SpaceX and so on. But you still need in parallel the inclusivity, the humanities, the approach of especially, as Elsa mentioned, the indigenous people, the land where we're sitting here, this is the indigenous land, And so those issues, the inclusivity has to be part of that discussion when we are looking at the technology solution. This year, 2025, is the year of quantum science and technology. How including this synergy between quantum and space and AI with the traditional knowledge. This is a very challenging task actually for next 4 years, I would say, 2025, 30. So when UN launches initiatives like the quantum science or the UNESCO Decades of Languages, and so it will not happen without the partnership. And this is why I think this Inspire for Tomorrow, it will happen only if we have a good roadmap. And no one can do this better than the former director of UNESA and the president of this foundation, Simonetta De Pippo. So Professor De Pippo brings different perspectives. He's a professor of space economy, bringing the economic aspect, how the space economy works. Diplomacy, he has, not only steered the UNESA over the 10 years, but she really championed the Unispace plus 50 when the 50th anniversary of space. So with all these different accomplishments, we'd like to hear from her, the roundtable with us, what can we do? And I would like to request her to lead this discussion and see if we can come up with some actionable recommendations and some points. So, Dr. De Pippo, floor to you, please.
Thank you very much, and by the way, thank you very much to all of you for the very inspiring also suggestions that we got already that I believe we're going to include as recommendations for our next steps. So one of the things that is extremely important here is that what we want to do is really to discuss with all the potential stakeholders what to do for the future. So usually you have people saying, okay, I put together this foundation or this activity, I want to do A, B, C, D, please give us money. Well, that's I'm extrapolating a little bit, but just to understand each other. Here the point is, can we be helpful in supporting the pact, which is then accelerating the 2030 agenda? is there is something that member states, the private sector, indigenous people, women, whoever, want to put on the table as a potential topic for, for us, around which we can build projects, and therefore trying to do something that is really requested by the end users, right? And this is something that sounds simple, is not, because it's a new way of looking at the situation. And also it may be at the very beginning a little bit more complicated, because if you have a list of projects and you say this is what I want to do in the next coming 5 years, it may sound easier because you know exactly what you want to do. However, we know what we want to do, which is embedded and enshrined in our vision, which is the fact that we really want to use STEM, digital cooperation, quantum, artificial intelligence, space to support the pact. So the actions of the pact. And on purpose, for example, you may have noticed that even if we, and this is just an example, even if we have strong competence in space activities, we didn't mention Action 56, because this is not something that we want to address. It's not our job to do, as a foundation, to do that type of activities. Those type of activities will be in the hands of other organizations, partially in the UN, outside. So what we really want to do is to help member states and the other stakeholders with you can consider this as a drop in the ocean, but I was told that drop by drop, well, you are able to do something serious and concrete. It's true, as Mylène was mentioning, that knowing the UN system from inside and having this mindset of supporting member states first, because the UN is a member states driven organization, which is the beauty of this, if I may. Sometimes it's a little bit, hard, but it is as it is, and it's extremely important. Why? Because as this was mentioned, what we are trying to do is really to reinforce, to refresh, as you said, multilateralism. And I'm a strong believer in that, and I'm a strong believer in the fact that we need to have everyone at the table, because that's the only way for us all together to do something concrete for a better world. So that's the approach that the foundation would like to have. And so this discussion here now that I'm trying to kick off is really, something open to everyone. So we really want to hear from you, which kind of suggestions you may put on the table, which kind of needs you have, which could be the first step that you would like us to put in place in order to go in the directions that you would like to see. Clearly it's the first step, so we don't want to solve, all the problems of the world today. That's not our job, but jokes apart, is just to start the process, and eventually we will also use the suggestions put on the table for, the next coming potential side events or activities that we want to put in place, for example, at the Ocean Summit, or for sure at the High Level Political Forum and other events this year, in order to try to increase awareness on what we want to do and increase the number of stakeholders who really want to join us in this journey. So I would like to open the floor and for suggestions, comments, inputs, whatever you want. Please.
Please, yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Emmanuel Escoto. I work for ASTM International. And I will keep it brief because I could talk about all the topics we are discussing now, but probably my proposal would be to include standards, to include standardization processes in the negotiations, and for member states it is going to be something that is going to be so helpful. Because, for example, we have a committee on standards on space, commercial space flights.
Mhm.
We have a committee working with climate change and indigenous people and natural-based solutions. We have an MOU program that is working with Paraguay and Chile. We work with partnerships. We have 127 partnerships. Through those partnerships, our MOU partners can adopt our standards for free. Our standards are developed by more than 30,000 volunteers from around the world, 150 countries. They are experts, science-based business people, and also from government as well. So I believe we have a lot of synergies and ways we could work together. So hopefully we can get some more communications and ways that we can discuss how we can probably bring standardization, international standards to the processes of UN, because something that happens is that I used to work for the mission of Nicaragua to the UN, and there are guidelines, there are the SDGs there, but then the private sector do not know how to implement. Through a standard process, it's a way that we can put the SDGs into actions, and actually our standards touch 12 of the SDGs. I'm going to stop there because I said there is so much we can discuss, but I would like to connect and see how we can join the partnership as well. Thank you.
Okay, no, thank you very much. Very, very interesting. In what you mentioned is really reinforcing what I said in considering the pact in a way a sort of an innovative document in the UN system. So if you've been in, as a delegate, you know what it means, what I'm trying to say. Please.
Hi, my name is Larissa. Sorry if I can't talk that well. I just got surgery last week.
Okay.
But I'm the International Engagement Directorate for the Migration, Youth and Children platform. So we're under the umbrella of the Major Group for Children and Youth. And I really, really liked in the space presentation when you brought up the partnership between space and indigenous issues of like using those satellites to really like monitor environmental issues. And I think one thing that I want to put forward on behalf of like migrant youth as well is the use of satellites to monitor human rights abuses. I know Human Rights Watch has done this in Myanmar, in Iraq, in Syria, and I think it's a great way to really monitor abuses in countries where human rights people are banned from, basically. So just putting that forward to potentially consider with partnerships.
It's a very interesting thing, because obviously with satellites already we can go a very, very high resolution. So you can really check, you can identify with also the support of AI structure. Everywhere is something is happening towards the indigenous people, is an action. That's a good idea, and then we can handle this. I think besides the monitoring the how to prevent fighting a war, this is something too much general. I think we should go more in deep in this and evaluate exactly where. This also we can extend also how there is abuse in the way we should support indigenous people, and we don't, because we thinking with our culture, not with the culture of the place. That should be the way also to use space to monitor and support this kind of adaptation of technology. Adaptation of
Professor was
technology.
saying, like, we need that disaggregated data, and I think space and satellites are a great way to provide that. I don't know how this plays on the sovereignty of member states. I think a lot of member states would probably push back on that. However, I think it is a tool that is very forward-looking and that human rights activists can use to our advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
If I could just add this, what I would like to then invite you is that we have just put forward as an agenda item for the United Nations Committee on Peaceful Use of Outer Space to bring this issue, of indigenous knowledge using space science and technology, So this agenda item, we introduced last year, and we are trying to get support for it. So I would invite you to participate in this process and see if we can bring this more formal way. And so that's the only platform, the Committee on Peaceful Use of Outer Space, where that could happen. The session will be happening in June 2025, sorry, and we will have a side event there in Vienna. So I would like to see this contribution. As I said, we already placed this on the agenda item of using not only just satellite imagery for monitoring those wells, but also the protection of those wells. How we can use geospatial data, for example. How we can use, and then also thanks to PHILAC and Pawanka, we had done some hackathon of encouraging indigenous youth to develop solutions using space technology for monitoring our indigenous lands, indigenous issues in Latin America, Caribbean. There are some very interesting solutions. So I would invite you, and back to you.
If I may, on top of what you just said, your comment is related to the fact that the users may have a certain number of needs that we, with the technology we master, can provide you as a sort of a tool in support of your needs. So we really need to understand your needs in detail in order to be able then to provide a space-based solution, an AI-based solution, whatever it is, depending on the type of the need.
Please.
Thank you so much. My name is Amaj, and I'm a Costa Rican Iranian with a company that's called Poseidon AI, located in Singapore. The reason why I said that is because during the pandemic, we had this project up in the mountains in Costa Rica for the indigenous community, using artificial intelligence so they can have access to food and water. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna go to detail, but one of the biggest issues that we had in Costa Rica was that the water, the rivers that go through the indigenous community is their land. They need to take care of it. The water that used to go through these areas, it was surrounded by these farms that they produce pineapples. So the fertilizer used to go to the water. They were drinking that, so they had another problem that they needed. So what we did was, we said, okay, we're gonna bring artificial intelligence so that they can collect the rainwater. We cannot use the soil because it was filled with fertilizers, but we used clay tiles that everywhere, if you go to this Latin America, the roof had these clay tiles. So that they can produce, they can have access to the clean water and use this water to produce their own food. I'm an expert in seafood and I like to eat them, so I try to expand that to this indigenous community as well. They didn't have energy, so what we did, we took solar panels there. However, I'm just building it up. There were no connectivity there. So we said, how can I help them to access, or at least for the artificial intelligence, the algorithms, to be functioning over there? We said the satellite, but there was one big question mark there. The area, Costa Rica is not the producer of drugs. We never produce drugs, but there is narco traffickers, they can transfer. And the places they go is up in these mountains. So at night, I couldn't stay there after 4 because it was the route for them. I'm not a security person, I'm not involved. So these people need to transfer the drugs from there. And if they see there is a light because we put solar energy, they would come and bother these indigenous communities. So I tried to do something good, but it had like multiple impacts. Now we did AI. I developed the AI algorithms when I was doing my postdoc in Norway, in Tromsø. And that's from 2017, 18, when nobody was talking about it. When we started doing these algorithms, we didn't know the extent that it might go. So if I connect this in the systems to the satellite, I don't know if it will do back calculation and it will impact the satellite. Now add that to these narco traffickers that can come and they can play with these information and then impact our satellites that are in the space for the use of narco traffickers. So I have the security issue on top of the AI algorithms that I'm putting there. So it's a multidisciplinary issue that we are having. But more than that, the Pact of the Future, we try to put the ocean part, we try to put the AI aspect, and the satellite. Right now, there is a conversation going on related to the scientific panel on AI. If we want to put anyone in that scientific panel on AI, we should have this ability to make these indigenous kids to be able to one day be part of this scientific panel. Not only me, just because I am privileged to have that, but they also have to. But how can we do that? We need to have these capacity buildings for these kids that are not even, or women or girls, that they are not able to be here with us today, and probably they will never even dream about it. There will be a crazy guy like me that one day will go up in the mountain to help them, but not everyone will do that. So to close this gap, and I will finish it here, we need a multidisciplinary solutions. And that's why I want to take advantage of I4T
Yes.
to create this environment, this platform, that we can have multidisciplinary solutions for helping the indigenous women, girls, using technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Something in line with what we would like to do, so it's really a pleasure to hear that. Any other comment, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Billy Interesting. I'm the founder of Axe IT, and I will be speaking on behalf of the Major Group for Children and Youth. Well, first of all, I would like to highlight the fact that the importance of all those initiatives, like to try to bring more justice and equality. So today I would like to highlight two fundamental points. And the first one, global challenges like climate change and inequality require youth at the center. So when I said youth, I speak like for all the youth, indigenous, like especially youth from the marginalized community. So, and the thing is not just like most of the time when we talk about youth, people think it's just having a seat at the table. But this is not the only thing we are looking for, because we also need to be part of it, not just having a seat at the table or listening. Because we are not trying to replace, but we want to learn from experienced people, and we want to be able to be ready when the times come to step up for our communities, for our cities, and for our people. And the second thing is that I know, especially right now, so it is very critical to prioritize young women, because as you mentioned, most of them, they don't have like this opportunity to be with us, like to be at the table. But at the end of the day, all of this work, all of these efforts, it's for us. It's for us to have a better world tomorrow. So I think it's not a better time than today to start prioritize like youth voices and try to empower them to be ready when the times come. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree more, to be very honest. I believe we are
running.
we are running out. Before you leave, if you don't mind, we will briefly circulate so that if you could put your name and email address, then we will keep you informed on our initiatives. In any case, you can go on the website inspirefortomorrow.org, and you, for example, could find the event today, but also the other events we are going to organize. So in a way you can follow us, but if you don't mind, it will be good to collect your email so that we can send you information when available. And thank you very much for being here. It's been really a great pleasure for me, and well, I believe for all of us. Please.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Actually, before we leave, the one last point of this deliberation, the expected outcome from this event, that you will be reporting tomorrow, and then you will be presenting a statement, is two ideas. And since I see there are a lot of young people here who knows the Shark Tank and so on, who are really inspiring, we'd like to come up with this some very concrete in terms of we can develop some mechanism. So we are working on this idea of developing this, which I had done in the past successfully for my Canis organization. When I started this, we generated first $1 million, then the project another 10 million, then another 50, 100 million. So how we took from $0 to $100 million for the Canis when we were taking micro and nanotechnology for space. I like to bring that model here and to get some ideas from in implementing where anyone can come and make the pitch, and we can bring those investors or partners who would provide that fund, and then basically we fund it. So the way we did, for example, was that we asked for these are the action items, and these are the, for example, who might invest into those. So we like to, from when you are giving your coordinates, reflect on this. And when we meet in HLPF in 2020, July 25, and at the Corpus side event, we will have more structure on this of creating such Shark Tank mechanism, with creating some funds. So we will have some, because at the end we will discuss a lot, but unless there are, when things move, when there is really, you put your money where your mouth is. And people, when they start putting money, then it becomes really actionable. And so what we would like to do in July is when we have at the HLPF, this Shark Tank model that has been proposed by this Ecosoft Partnership Forum, the expert panel, that's what they're asking. So I would like to provide the outcome of this event as a recommendation to the Ecosoft Partnership Forum. And Simonetta, as a director, you can present this.
Yeah, for sure, but one other thing that I would like to mention is that already now, there is a possibility to go on our website and eventually not only leave your, address, email, but also if you want to leave comments or you want to provide inputs, whatever is already available as a feature, okay? So you scroll down and you find this on the website.
If I may, since our work is to try to leverage Back to the Future through the technology, for example, what you already mentioned, any ideas how we could use this technology implementation for this level will be appreciated. So you could use that also to propose your ideas that we could use better the technology together AI obviously, because it will help us well.
And in addition, the fact that we are really trying to see, to support projects which are cross-sectorial and cross-cutting in a way, so that with a single project we can touch different type of topics or issues. Because it's the more we are diverse, open and inclusive, the better it is. So that's the approach. And therefore clearly collecting inputs and then putting everything together, we shake all of them, and I'm sure that the result will be quite interesting for all of us. Thank you so much.
So this is
And
the
now we
address.
are finished.
Sorry.
We are now in
Yeah.
the seminar mode.
Yeah.
I just want to say,
Please.
for sure, if you want to find the indigenous people's leadership, annual session of the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues is it in April.
Yeah.
We get 1,500 indigenous leaders every year. So
You're right.
creating a
You're
side
right.
event.
You're right.
I mean, so you create a side event with substantive preparation and indigenous persons also there.
We will support that.
It's
absolutely.
extremely important.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I took notes. Thank you so much. Yeah, but.
So just to
So yeah,
conclude-
we
yeah.
leave.
Yeah. No, for your statement.
I need you for your statement.
You can
Ah,
just,
you need me for my state.
So just to conclude the discussion, there is the email address here that you can approach. And as I said before, we would like to develop this, especially so-called the roadmap and this Shark Tank model of creating the fund and then basically the implementation of. So just last point on the standardization, actually, this is one key aspect we will be working on. Tomorrow, actually, there is an AI summit will be happening in France on 10th, 11th. So there is a working group that I'm chairing on this AI summit for the G20. And so this issue is a key aspect, bringing standardization. So we would like to make sure that this is part of this process. And then last comment, Elsa, if you want to add some thoughts, because since Dr. Mirna Cunningham is not here, from the indigenous perspective, if there's anything that you think that this partnership is, your last thought for you before
My
we
last
close.
thought is, I tried, it was such a brief time for me, and I wanted to tell you so much, so I couldn't do this. But when you speak and you want to collaborate with indigenous peoples, it is not the same as with some other social groups, because they have the right to self-determination. It means that it is very concrete with whom you have to deal with. It is not like dealing with, an NGO. I'm sorry, with all respect to NGOs.
Sure.
I want to say that how we do things and we approach indigenous peoples is very important. And I want to finish by saying that the whole thing on free, prior, and informed consent has been detailed. We have it. That's why I said at the beginning, we're not in a vacuum. We have the tools. So your effort and everybody's effort dealing, with the Summit for the Future and of course the SDGs, we have the stuff, and our friend mentioned it. So please, let's keep in mind these very important tools that we have created internationally, that we can use. They are in this toolkit. So I'm saying something, I'm finishing positively, because I feel we have a lot of tools. Let's use them.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you for the support from Italy, and we look forward to the same support from you and from Paraguay and from all the stations. Yes, so we will be. Giuseppe, did we close the online?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
already
we're
closed.
done.
But I will see you tomorrow. Are you leaving tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm leaving to France.
Oh, good luck. So you're going to be in charge. Ambassador,
But
just,
then you say, when you
Listen.
said what you meant, and then.
yeah, we will, hopefully we will do for the
I
whole
think you
conference.
can.
Give them a chance.
From my side,
Sorry, ASTM. I got ASTM.
We will be, we are trying to.
Because we are the
You cannot
and we
think
create this
without knowing what is. No, you cannot. So for instance, we have a presentation
So we wrote
great
standards for developing small centers.
and they so sometimes
And then we will look at small centers.
But I mean, the more that together, the more easier for us.
why you ask different opinions and then the project they generated it.
I mean, probably there's government.
And the same one you could use a different way. Maybe to collect the wealth, trying to recite
But I mean, if there is a chance for you to discuss first,
so by
I will be around.
stimulating the ecosystem, it's a pleasure saying that what how we can help.
Which we are working on
Because there is
They're also
because you're right. Yeah, the knowledge of the culture sometimes a richer and so how to integrate that, how we do that, how we get to
So we are working with
Let me just be green. Now we are express.
all those. Yes, we are very critical. I think we have tomorrow we have
And kids like
This you should include them also in these discussions, so having them. Yeah, that should be a way to try to find the right. Also because nowadays, the space is so important. So it's 20 times cheaper. So it's easy and maybe because already we have, so that all of you guys maybe how we can be accessible for how we can make something more. And I think we still
you know
That's my company. I probably use
I would be very interested because we are just formulating the idea. And then, so the Shark Tank is something.
But I will be around here every day. If you guys get me for some, I will try to hear you guys.
So what we do is that we have super micro analytics.
I will let you guys discuss.
What we do is that we invite
Oh, we think I know
all
what.
kinds of ideas, people are looking input. And we invited all of those industries and governments.
Where do you want to take it?
And we spelled out those ideas. And this is during the end of the event, we had
Can you please help me jump to
so what we did that and there's 15 business plans.
I hope I look good in it. Now the problem is the camera. Singapore. And I was there explaining youth
So that's how
no, I just they wanted to take
so that's what we're developing now.
I think my your solution is green.
And the second thing is space around the yeah, that was a good one.
You are university. No, high school.
So you want to make it as a formula. High school doesn't exist in the university.
I'm the CEO, I just go. My job is to make sure, find money, find the projects. That's
and so we are making progress
I only have a couple of cars, so you guys can contact me with my Singapore number. Oh, yeah, so I am with you. I'm sorry, I didn't remember. Standard for you can search my WhatsApp, whatever it is. AMA. Professor, I just wanted to give you an idea how we can I just work with you one
Oscar, I introduced you.
Yeah, that's my book.
I can write.
You are right. You can write. That's my book and you have it. I only want to do.
I can write on it.
Yes, so that's what exactly, because it's very expensive for some reason. I did one to the Library of the UN as well, but if you can access it through the you can have your project together. I always but we do a lot of things together, okay? Because your value is so high that we need to take advantage. Yes, please. If I can, I'll do it. Perfect. Looking forward to see you tomorrow, okay?
Reach out.
Thank you so much for being today, and we want to look forward to your especially I think they were
I would love to go once.
Yeah, he was the guy.
Yes, yes.
We are in Italy.
Because
Right now. But a couple of daughters are here.
and one is going to marry.
And a couple of years, so you know, we're trying to make it work. Yes, a mixed marriage. So we will be here in Spain for the marriage. Oh, the same. It was amazing to meet you. We hope to see you again. Maybe in Italy, why not? Oh, please. Wow, it would be wonderful to us. Maybe we can organize something, you know, in the university. We can, you can stay down. In June, early June. No, in Korea. It would be amazing to have you there for some days. I don't know your agenda if you are very busy. We have to do the 6 June. Bye.
This is Dr. Rizna.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Ideas
We have to.